the 8th anniversary is right around the corner, and we're going to have the dev reveal for it tomorrow. Let's quickly go ahead and take a look at what we should be expecting out of the 8th anniversary. We'll take a look at some of the teasers they've released so far, the rewards from the previous anniversary, the 7th one, and maybe get a decent idea of what we should be getting. And also, I'm just going to personally talk about what I myself want out of this anniversary. Let's go ahead and get started. So for the teasers, we have the Abyss Exploration Journal. It's talking about, the chain of sacrifice, a lot of like blood being shed, that sort of thing. It just kind of just talks about sacrifice over and over again. This is, to me, most likely referring to the cycles from, which technically don't happen anymore, but we know that the world has been reset multiple times. I think we're on the 8th reset or something like that, or the 8th world. So that is something that was happening during Epic 7, and Deesh is the person who's been sacrificing herself pretty much, as well as the heirs, because they do not revive in each cycle. This person here people are expecting is Kayron, just because like the hair is kind of similar. It could be him. It doesn't, like, it could just be something that we don't know about him yet. His lore itself is just that he's an acolyte who is essentially cursed to live as long as anybody else is alive. So the only way for him to kind of die is to kill literally everybody, which he has been trying to do for quite a while now. That's why he kind of talks about it a decent bit. Next up is this one, Ruin cannot erase everything, our civilization carried on to the next star. This is, to me, talking a bit about the Dark Star Nebula and how they've been going around sort of killing off a bunch of planets. Paulus was the most notable character that was affected by this, as she had to move, her entire civilization tried to move over to Orbis. They had their little game of Among Us on the ship, and then everybody died except for her. And that's how the whole city of Felicia started. You can also see Straze and Faustus destroying Rekos, the home planet for Luluca and Rowana, that sort of thing. So this is pretty similar to what happened to Paulus. It could also just, in general, refer to all of the stuff going on with the gods and whatnot. And then this is just a little ring the Arky's holding up, probably just the anniversary item. I really hope it's not another 20-speed tank ring. Please, 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 just give me a DPS one or something, because I have a lot of tank rings at this point. They gave out 2 20-speed rings this year already, both tank. And also, they released a little short that just said it's the anniversary hero is going to be a really popular character from one of the really, really old characters, because last year we had Ross Scales. They've also done Diane and another Asaria. So people are expecting the ones that we don't have so far is maybe another Vildred. It could be another Kayron who we've seen. I think Kayron is pretty likely. However, the timing for it is a little bit awkward, because they probably don't want to release him until the very end of episode 6, as he's looking to be the boss, unless he is surprised not the boss. We'll see what's going on there. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got from the 7th anniversary. First up, there was Genesis Ross, a completely free ML5. I don't think... I'm just going to say this was a one-off. Not necessarily expecting an actual free ML5 every single year, He also got a pretty sick artifact to go with it. Not just good on him, it's good on Nodos for Guild War, good on some other units. I think this is just a one-off, let's say. But that was something that happened. We had the reveal of some ML5s, and, with the banner ending, we know that we're getting the ML5 reveal, and we'll see who it is soon. Some QoL we got gear loadouts, which have been insanely useful for all of the PvE content that we've had in the game. You do your constellations, do your Magnar, swap your equipment, whatever, auto gear it, revert, do the next one, revert, Hall Trials, do it, revert. Very, very nice. It's insane, such an insanely good change. We got permanent free unequip, which has been amazing for, the same things. Before, you would kind of have to time it with unequip buffs and do everything really quickly, which is kind of annoying. Now you can do it literally whenever you want. So that was really, really good. Equipment Manager was garbage. We're not going to talk about this. We got team formations per content before you had to buy it with Skystones and everything, and this has been really, really good. They also fixed the issue initially of Arena only having was it 5 teams or 2 teams? It was not a lot. Now we have 10. So that's perfectly fine. All Spirit Altars permanently open. New equipment sets, debatable, but we've been getting a lot of equipment sets. And then they also introduced otherworldly stuff, and we got more inventory space. They removed Labyrinth Cycle. Thank God, that content kind of sucked. We got Uga's Armory, which I hope gets removed this year. They mentioned a bit about 15% in PvE and that they would try to remove it from future content, which they had been doing already through, constellations and stuff. And now we have the imprint circuit, which just fully removes it, so that is nice. In terms of rewards, besides Genesis Rust free ML5, we got a bunch of stuff here. So there was the anniversary cake, and we got a bunch of mystic medals, some from the login, some from the cake. Each cake tier gave different rewards. And then we're going to just go forward a little bit. We got a slate, a bottle, and then each elemental bookmark, the 4 to 5 star ones. There was also the profile background that you would get at the very end. And most notably, we got this 5-star Moonlight boss hero selector. So this was Zio Hersetti Archdemon Straze Bellion at the time, I think. And this was really, really nice. I would expect that we get another one this year as well. We'll talk a bit more about it after we finish getting through this. They also mentioned some coin shop changes, which we got in the form of the 80 ticket thing. What was it? It's the 80 coin ticket. Yeah, they could pick pretty much any ML5 up to a certain point. You can also see in the background there the Moonlight Luna, New Moon Luna won the voting for the contest that happened during the summer, and we should be expecting that this year as well. They mentioned some offline events, E7WC. We should expect to be announced this anniversary as well. Plus, there was this coupon code where they show the rewards here. 77 gold transit stones, some molas. Most importantly, that 20 speed necklace. I mean, they showed the ring already, so we might be getting another 20 speed piece here. And that was pretty much all of the rewards. So let's quickly go ahead and take a look at what we should be expecting from the 8th anniversary this year. So let me open up some stuff. So first things first, I mentioned that boss selector. I am expecting another ML5 selector this anniversary that has some sort of restriction, because it was a boss selector last year, and it would be kind of weird if they reran the boss selector again, I think, because the pool is very small, right? With the milestone of Radiance, and also just people playing the game longer, people are going to have rolled a lot of ML5s. I think there's a decent chance that people just have all the boss ML5s. I'm not sure what the restriction is going to be. Maybe episode 1 ML5s, or they could do another Moonlight Theater type of thing. People have been talking about what if the headhunt gets moved up. I don't think that'll happen. Also, 2, I don't think that counts, because if they move the headhunt up, that just means that they moved up another selector that we should have been getting later anyways. I'm expecting, of course, bottles and slates. People have noted that in the Epic Dash this year, which we also had the Epic Road, which gave us some stuff, but overall we've gotten a bit less bottles from Anniversary so far this year, and while I don't think it'll necessarily catch up to what we got last year, at least 1 bottle. Hopefully they give us 2. Some Mystics probably as well. We have the new ML5 coming up, and they gave us some Mystics last year, probably temporary ones that we'll be getting. The Luna skin that I mentioned too, she won her voting last year, about a year to develop the skin, because they had to design it from scratch. They didn't really know who was winning yet, and then they have to do all the stuff for it. It'll probably be an epic skin if I had to guess, and releasing it around the anniversary just sounds like a good idea for what they should do with that sort of hype. There's also Dark Kayron, who we know is going to be a thing. Dark Kayron has shown up a bunch in the... Oh, there he is. Where did he go? He's shown up in the story. We know that he's going to be a playable character, so he could be either the next ML5 or one of the upcoming ML5s very soon, because episode 6 is not complete. We still have 5 more chapters to go before episode 6 is finished. More stuff. We should be getting Rift QoL, most likely. So Rift, this deadline of 6 days left has been pushed back twice. It was originally supposed to end a couple months ago, and they pushed it back by a little bit, and they pushed it back by a lot. And they timed it to end exactly on the anniversary patch. So with that in mind, we got Otherworldly Hunt last year. We'll see what we get this year. There are a couple of things that I think shouldn't happen with this Rift changes, because the main thing with Rift is that it takes really long. Of course, I try to solo my Rift, so it takes a little bit longer than it should, but just having only a quarter energy cost means that it takes forever to farm. One way that I think we should get around this is we should just have a thing that lets you spend 4 times the amount of energy in order to do your clears, basically like a reward multiplier. And I say 4 just so it matches Core's 160. Basically, you would have a little toggle somewhere, like maybe here. You would have a little toggle that just says, okay, I want like 4x multipliers. It would cost 160 energy to enter, and you would go in and do that. Just simply making Rift cost the same energy as Hunts would go a long way in making it not feel as bad to do. Another thing is also we used to have otherworldly chests. Those would be nice. I don't think the rate on those needs to be very high, to be honest. It would not need to be very high at all, just to make... It's just a little small bonus. Would be nice to add some more otherworldly gear and stuff. Making sure that your otherworldly gear is always from a set that you're going to want is already insanely strong. Every single hunt has 2 or 3 dead sets in it. I think 2 or 3 might be a lot. Well, they pretty much all have 2. And then one more thing is, besides that, let me see what there was. Oh, we should be expecting probably a new season in Constellation. This also got pushed back. Constellation was supposed to end quite a while ago. It was supposed to actually end, like, this rotation. But they pushed it back by, like, 2 rotations. So they're probably just trying to desync some of the big changes that are happening, just so we have more content, you know, spread out and stuff, which I think is probably a good idea. And besides that, I don't know how much they'll change for this. Like, they explicitly mentioned, this has always been a thing, it says Spirit Stance, which implies that we could get different ones in the future. And it has been about a year at this point, so maybe they want to change it up. We could get some like different themed bosses and new mechanics, or they could just keep the current ones and see how those work. I think the current way Constellation setup is pretty good. They should have a much better idea of what to do with this content. And they did announce the Epic 7 World Cup if you look at the notes for the end of the season, they mentioned the Epic 7 World Cup is coming up. So it's not getting canceled again. We're going to be having the Epic 7 World Cup soon, and it's not too surprising that it's this late because the Epic 7 Masters lasted pretty long. So I've been expecting the World Cup to get pushed back, and yeah. So we're also going to have, you know, physical events probably. They announced the, the orchestra last year, which was pretty nice. They probably just want like all of the in-person events kind of like synced around each other. So now let's kind of talk about what I want out of this event, or out of this anniversary, because we got a lot of QoL, right? Like we had permanent unequip, we had the equipment reversion thing. So I'm just going to yap for a little bit. So besides the Rift QoL, one more thing to me is expeditions, because expeditions are just free resources. They're free gear, they're free substat mod gems. Even if they're RNG, sometimes you get good stuff, and the stuff that you're not getting is able to be broken down into the cores they can use to craft new ones. The big thing to me is that right now, if you're playing like super optimally, there's a really weird thing where it technically is worse to burn leaves when expedition is not in rotation. Like, I've mentioned it a few times that I was doing it myself during the Epic Dash, where I was waiting for the expedition rotations, because I had like I burned like 4,000 leaves, and I did it all on expedition rotation. That's like a lot of extra stuff that I got compared to doing it off rotation. My solution for this is expedition permanently in rotation, but the missions are rotating. So if you want to clear Shadow Company, you're not required to do expeditions, but if you want the free resources, then it's there for you to do. And then Strategic Archive, I don't like it. I've said it a bunch. It's supposed to simulate PvP, but no one's playing for 15%. It kind of sucks, and it should be doable with only support units, in my opinion. I think Strategic Archive should be a puzzle to solve, and not just like, you know, blast it with your own team. God of Battles Coliseum has a pretty similar issue. If you look at some of these heroes, by the way, they're worse than the RTA supports, which is like baffling to me. I think bare minimum they should be at the same level as the RTA supports. I'm trying to look for like a good example. Like, where is Moon Bunny? I'm going to search for Moon Bunny. Moon Bunny here. This is like speed res 169262, 1213, Doctor's Bag. And then we're going to go over here, and we're going to look for Moon Bunny, so she's a bit slower. That one had a bit more F-res, and this one's way bulkier. So, like, it traded some F-res for some other stats, and this one also has immunity, but, like, it's just worse overall. It's kind of, like, really, really weird the way they have the Coliseum supports set up. I do think Moon Bunny needs, like, a bit of res these days, but, like, I don't, like, it's just really weird the way they have the RTA Coliseum support setup, especially that they give the enemies like cheater stats. Pretty much is kind of weird. One more thing is Hall of Trials, since we're on the topic of Shadow Company. I think that people want more currency, which I'm not sure how like much they'll want to give that out, but instead of just doing like just more currency for everybody, they should probably just add more tiers. Like, it goes from top 100 to top 5%. Top 5% is likely a few thousand players. So going from 100 to a few thousand is a big jump. I would very much like if they added like a top 1% and a top 2%, or if I went like top 1%, top 3% to add more separation between tiers, more things for people to aim towards, and it would increase currency for more active players. At the higher end, just as like a personal thing, I think top 50 and top 10 would also be fun. But the big thing to me is that top 1%, top 2%, top 3% tiers, just so it's not going from, you know, thousands to 100. Astral Forge needs a bit of QoL too. I think that when you're... okay, I haven't even selected anything yet, but when you're rolling this thing, and you're rolling for 5 speed, you're kind of just staring at flashbangs over and over again, and, like, it's very easy to zone out. They should really just make it so that we can... give us a pop-up. Like a pop-up that's going to move, has a cancel button on a different part of the screen, so you can just mindlessly click away, and once you hit 5 speed, the game will stop you. Like, I don't think we need to flashbang ourselves over and over again. They should just be made a bit easier on us. Another thing is, it's sort of the existence of Eulogy in the first place, because, like, this is, like, I mean, like, I've seen Quistolin talking about this for years, but this is just, I think it's not... It's weird to have the best charm farming spot be some kind of niche location that you can lock yourselves out of. With the way that they're giving out catalysts these days, AP is completely useless. Like, there is just no use for AP at all. You don't need to buy catalysts from here. It just doesn't matter at all. So let's add some charms to the shop. And penguins, I think. I don't think the rates need to be amazing. It should just be better than Eulogy, is pretty much what I think should be the bare minimum. It just... because Episode is already better than Eulogy in terms of gold. It's just worse in terms of charms. Pretty much any amount of like charms here for any amount of AP would make it better than Eulogy as a farming spot. So I think that would be good to do. Speaking of, you know, charms and stuff, when you're enhancing gear, the gear costs between doing it with a charm versus doing it with powder, the gold cost rather, is pretty different. It's like, this is 26, and then if I empty, this is 13. So it definitely, like, well, it's 13, and then I need to add, like, probably, like, 5 or something. It's still pretty significant. It just costs so much more to use Dust, and I think that it would be nice if they remove this just as a way to make it easier for people to get gold. Also, let's go ahead and take a look at the Sanctuary. So in the Sanctuary, this has been an issue ever since, I think it was like Origin. When you're buying out penguins, you have to click on like 1, 2, oh, it already maxed out. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's like, and you have to click between 2 different spots. We should get a little button somewhere, maybe here, that just says repeat action, and you just spam click this over and over again. That would be very, very nice. One more thing is, when you are over here, if you, so I don't know if anybody knows this, if you look at this thing and you try to select the mod gem, there is no cap. Please put a cap on this, please. Because you look at anything else, it caps you, okay? This caps you at 50. This also caps you at 50. Does this cap you? This also caps you at 50. This is the only thing that is not capped, and It would be really, really sad if somebody accidentally selected this, like, every single one of their chests, so we should get a cap for that. Savior add-in and all of the add-in forms really should be free to change at this point. Especially Savior is just such a pain to farm out. And because she's the only one where you don't get the enhancements for free, and you have to go to, like, I think it's actually the next one. You have to, like, go, like, over here and just farm it, and it's, like, thousands of energy for a pretty, like, mediocre unit. Just make it free. It would make a lot of her forms more used. I think it's nice for Ancient Inheritance to swap between elements whenever you want to. All of her forms are not that good, and just make it free. The way web events are set up right now is kind of annoying because it's a bit better ever since they made the Dash Part 2 permanent, but like it says 20 times of content. It should really scale with energy. Like there is a big difference between doing 20 otherworld hunts versus like 20 runs of Eulogy. There was basically like a gun to my head whenever Part 2 wasn't active, saying that I had to do Eulogy, and you were still net negative on energy unless you like wanted to claim mail, but ideally you want to save your mail for Part 2 anyways, right? So let's see what else there is. Oh, bulk enhancement. When you're doing bulk enhancement and stuff, I think it's like minorly annoying to select 16 parts. It would be very nice to get a button that just says auto select 16. It'll select 16 unenhanced pieces of gear for you to roll. And it could just go from like top to bottom or something. I think that would be nice. And then in the hero menu, there's actually kind of like space for this, but sometimes when you're looking for like what you need to imprint, you have to scroll a lot. Like I have to go like kind of far down to start seeing my non-SSS units. Give us a little button here that just says hide max memory imprint or something. Hide max memory imprint. I think that fits. Just a nice little thing to make it easier. And for new players too, it's really helpful because then you don't have to scroll through like all of your SSS 3 stars because you kind of want to like have them just to know who you have SSS'd for the missions and whatnot. Also, I think that process itself is really tedious. It's necessary for bookmarks and stuff, but it is really, really tedious. So with that in mind, I think that there should be some sort of like auto imprint thing for 3 and 4 stars only. Just automatically imprint everything to get that tedium out of the way for new players. When you're quick battling an episode as well, this actually doesn't give friendship. Okay, I can't do it here, but this doesn't give friendship. So it's kind of annoying. I think the value of friendship has gone up a little bit with the existence of the gifts and stuff in the shop, but not being able to quick battle or not being able to get friendship from this kind of sucks. So I think it would be nice to just give out, like, if you use a quick battle in episode, just give us the 5 friendship or 10 if you want to be nice. And then I'm going to cap this off with like a really minor thing. When you're in arena and you're copying teams, I think Christy, is there a Christy team anywhere? Christy should be hard-coded to never go into the back slot because I have to like manually move her out every single time. So, okay, this got kind of long, a lot longer than I thought it would, but that's kind of just everything that I'm expecting from the anniversary and what I like personally just want out of it. Hopefully we get some really good stuff tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then.